reminds me because yesterday at 7:28 in the morning, CNN was running this story.
Oh, yeah, I got this on my phone.
A dangerous cultish devotion analysis. The GOP's embrace of Trump's movement based on lies shows he doesn't have to be president to pose grave risks to democracy.
Oh, okay. I love that. There is no level of this Trump following that matches this vaccine insanity that we are experiencing right now. That's your cult.
And Donald Trump poses a grave risk to democracy? Well, okay, you know what A is going to be. We're not a democracy! By all that is holy, stop the democracy BS. B, what are these so-called grave risks? Grave threat risks. What is Trump going to order his minions to do to bring down the country? And C, CNN, for the love of all that is holy, move on. I mean, I know your ratings have cratered now that you don't have Donald Trump in office to kick around every single stinking day, but eventually you're going to have to find something or someone else to take up some airtime.
Let him go, CNN. Let him go.
Let it go. Surely there's another right-wing boogeyman that you can conjure up. And D, maybe one day you could just, I don't know, take a peek at the left, at Democrats, when you talk about dangerous, cultish devotion. You could spend a lifetime talking about the left's dangerous devotion to any number of things. Abortion, for example. You talk about a cult-like devotion that's dangerous and that's a threat to humanity. Democrats worship at the altar of abortion. Anybody remember the old phrase, safe, legal, and rare? I mean, that is just not a thing anymore.
Write that down. That's good.
Safe, legal, and rare. We want abortions to be safe, legal, and rare. You're considered a right-wing kook, and you have no place in today's Democrat Party if you dare suggest that abortion should be rare or limited in any way at all. Even as Democrats claim the right is extreme on this issue and every other issue, nearly everyone on the left supports abortion on demand now, including partial birth abortion. Democrats continually attack Second Amendment supporters because Second Amendment supporters believe that when our founders declare in the Constitution that the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, they meant just that. Don't infringe our right. You can't. But for abortion, which is not a right in the Constitution, somehow that 1973 Supreme Court decision can't be altered or tweaked or limited in any way at all, ever. It's sacred to them. In fact, Democrats are so extreme, so radical about it, with such a cultish devotion now, that Roe v. Wade looks like it came from the Heritage Foundation by comparison to what you see today. Roe v. Wade is conservative compared to where the Democrats are today. They've gone so far left that you can't even get Democrats to admit that the fetus whose heart starts beating within 21 days of conception. You can't even get them to admit that a baby in the womb is even a human being. Does anybody remember when Debbie Wasserman Schultz was asked about whether or not her actual children were human when they were in the womb?
You have 3 children, correct?
I do.
What are their ages?
I have twin 16-year-olds and a 12-year-old.
And in your opinion, were they human beings before they were born?
You know, I believe that every woman has the right to make their own reproductive choices.
What did you believe about your children, though?
That I had the right to make my own reproductive choices, which I was glad to have, a right which I was proud to have.
So were they human beings, or just yes or no?
They're human beings today, and I'm glad that I had an opportunity to make my own reproductive choices as a right that every woman has and should maintain.
Okay. I mean, talk about cult-like devotion. If you can't follow your maternal instincts on that one, Deb, try following the science on it. They were human beings in your womb, and you know it. But if they admit it, then what are they doing? Well, they're killing human beings. They're ending human life. So they can't admit it now. Progressives have been absolutely masterful at spinning this discussion in their favor. It's not about a human life, an innocent baby. It's about a woman's right to choose. It's not about ending a life or killing a baby. It's about reproductive health. And we certainly can't go back to those back alley abortions that killed so many women. Was it 5,000 a year that died in back alley abortions? 10,000 a year? Whatever year you're speaking of, these unsafe abortions took the lives of 10,000 women or more every single year. Surely even that number, as massive as it sounds, wasn't even close to the real number, which according to some experts was actually 50,000 women a year. Tragically killed, simply trying to exercise their right to choose. And we can't have that. We can't go back to those days. Which, by the way, nobody's suggesting that we go back to back alley abortions. But since that number was so instrumental in changing the debate in America, they must have had some meticulously kept statistics from hospitals or from the Department of Health or something, right? Wrong. Nope. Around a decade after Roe v. Wade, that big decision from the Supreme Court in 1973, the truth about from whence those numbers came was revealed. Do you know where they came from? The numbers that 5,000 to 10,000 women a year die in back alley abortions. It came from the co-founder of NARAL, the National Abortion Rights Action League, which is a hardcore, radical abortion organization. I think you could best describe it as Planned Parenthood on steroids. That group's co-founder, Dr. Bernard Nathanson, admitted he made the numbers up. He just made it up out of whole cloth. Let me quote Dr. Nathanson. I confess that I knew the numbers were totally false. And I suppose the others did too if they stopped to think of it. But in the morality of our revolution, it was a useful figure, widely accepted. So why go out of our way to correct it with honest statistics? The overriding concern was to get the laws eliminated, and anything within reason that had to be done was permissible. Now, he admitted that years after because Nathanson went from NARAL founder to a pro-life advocate, much the same way Norma McCorvey, the Roe in Roe v. Wade did. So he had a change of heart, too, and admitted what he'd done. So, crazy. But what were the real numbers then? If it wasn't 5,000 or 10,000 a year, what was the real number? Was it like 9,000 or 4,000? Well, in 1972, the year before Roe v. Wade, the number of women who actually died from an abortion attempt in some back alley or unsafe abortion effort was 39. Not 39,000, not 3,900, 39, period. The next year, the year the Supreme Court made their landmark decision, the number of deaths from illegal abortions was 19. The number of deaths from legal abortions was 25.
Wow. Repeat that one. Okay, so 1973, they make abortion legal in the United States. And the number of deaths from back alley abortions
the illegal ones was 19.
19. And how many from the legal ones now?
25.
That number seems bigger.
Seems bigger, doesn't it? I mean, it must be our bad math skills. Certainly, it can't be bigger.
The fact that we're middle-aged white dudes
Right.
trying to have a discussion about
Exactly.
I don't know, babies living.
Our white privilege is showing.
Yes, it is.
And by the way, the abortion total since 1973 has now reached about 63 million babies. 63 million. 1 in 4 women, 1 in 4, can you believe that, have had an abortion? For black women in New York City, more babies are aborted than are born alive. I mean, that's the Margaret Sanger dream.
That's a genocide right there.
It is. It is. I mean, that's not hyperbole. It is. And that's exactly what Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, that was exactly her vision, was to get rid of blacks and undesirables, as she called them. And Democrats want more. Why? Because they've become a dangerous death cult. That's why. You're not going to get that from CNN, but it's the plain and simple truth. And it's just one of the things that they've got a cultish, like dangerous obsession over. Tomorrow, we should get into climate change and what kind of religion that is to them. What kind of cult these climate change buffoons are. Oh, it's agonizing.
Yes.
Absolutely agonizing.